Chris Marabella with Marabella Commercial Finance. I'm here with Jeff Gates of Kase Group, and we're going to discuss his beautiful CVS store. So let's talk about your beautiful CVS. What an awesome store. I love the facade, and I'm going to put that up on the screen in a couple seconds. What are the positive characteristics, attributes of this deal? Tell us a little bit about the story of this the CVS in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Sure. So it's been a drugstore since it was built. I think it was built in '97, and it was originally built for a different drugstore tenant, and then CVS kind of took over, and they've been there pretty much the entire time. And it was 2013 they did some amendments to the leases and extended it. And so we've got about 18 and a half years remaining on the lease.
Beautiful. Yeah,
so you've got that long term, you've got the credit of CVS corporate behind the lease. Tennessee.
Is it fee simple, Jeff, or ground lease?
It's fee simple, yep.
So if someone's acquiring it, they're getting both the land and the building on this deal.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Tennessee income tax free. So if you happen to, have your primary residence in, one of these states that have no income tax, that could be a real positive factor for this investment.
What is the sales price, the list price, and what's the NOI? There's some obligation, I think, roof and structure, right? But I believe you just put in a brand new roof in 2018. And there's an assignable warranty for 20-something years, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So, there's some double net aspect to this deal. First off, we're priced at $3,961,905, which is a 5.25 cap. A great thing about this deal is you've got low rent. It's only $208,000 a year for a CVS. That's on the lower side. Nationwide, you do have some increases in the rent and the options. The first two options, you have 10% bumps. Goes to fair market value in options 3 through 5. So $3,961,000, 5.25 cap. The roof was done, so there is a double net aspect to this deal. You do have some landlord responsibilities, and those are structure and roof. And the roof was completely redone in 2018. You've got the transferable warranty. Okay. So for the most part, this is about as hands-free as you can get for a double net deal, at least for the next 20-odd years related to the roof. Again, you've got that full corporate guarantee for the next 18 and a half years.
Is the property free of debt right now? Can it be delivered free of debt so somebody could get a loan?
We'll be delivering it free and clear. There's no debt on it currently.
There's no debt on it. Now, is the seller the developer, or is this a second generation property?
It's second gen owner.
Sorry?
It's a second generation owner. It's a group here out of San Francisco, actually, that syndicated and bought it. I think they bought it about 8-9 years ago, I have to recall. But they've owned it and been happy with it, did the amendments, did the roof, and now it's time for this partnership to kind of move on, and so they're liquidating it right now.
So I just did a quick underwriting. I'm thinking if I did a loan on it, like at a 125 debt coverage, I'd be coming in at about 2.5 to maybe 2.7 million, probably right around 65 to 67% loan to value with a 125 debt coverage. And if we did like a 5, 7, 10-year fixed rate loan with like a 25 to 30-year AM, right now, we're as low as I'm doing a Walgreens deal at 3% on a 5-year. It's only a $3 million loan on a $10 million value, and I'm doing a cash out refi. But we got 3% on that deal, if you can believe it, Jeff.
That's great.
15-year AM though. It's very conservative deal at $3 million, 30% loan to value. But for this deal, I bet you we're probably 3 3/8 to anywhere to 4.5, depending on what kind of lender that I would, deal with. The one thing as of late, I've heard CMBS is starting to kind of come back, and the Treasury, I believe the Treasury or the Federal Reserve is possibly going to bring back TALC, where the Treasury would buy, or the Federal Reserve would buy the CMBS paper. And that's what really kicked off after the last downturn in 2009. Right around 2011, CMBS started to really go again. But anyway, just to give you some feedback on what kind of loan I'm thinking, if you had any buyers that.
Yeah, no, that's really attractive. Chris, let me ask you, who would you go to? Would this be a local kind of Tennessee bank, or is this a life company? Who's your source?
It would be more portfolio lending. If your client wanted completely non-recourse, then maybe we would go CMBS. If they wanted interest only, there's positives and negatives in each type of loan. Portfolio, you're going to have no prepay or friendly prepay. If the buyer wants to resell the property, then portfolio is probably the way to go. If they're looking for interest only, non-recourse, then CMBS. If they're looking for fully amortizing, then maybe we would go to our life company. So it depends on, what kind of structure they're looking for. So what kind of buyer are you looking for on this deal? Are you looking for a 1031 buyer? Would that be your preferred buyer?
Absolutely, Chris. Yes, okay. Sir. 1031.
It's a 1031
buyer with an appetite for a long-term CVS. That's who our ideal buyer would be.
I'm thinking they want to put in, they should have about $1.4 million to about $1.7 million down. That's probably what you should be looking for. Somebody with about $1.4 million to $1.7 million in their accommodator. How much time do you want to give a buyer? This is always a common question on due diligence. And do you give financing contingency? Will this seller consider a financing contingency? And how quick to close per the contract? What are the critical dates you like to?
I mean, we're not going to get too picky on if someone needs 21 days or 30 days for diligence. I mean, we've got sales reports, we've got diligence from when they bought it, but all this stuff is 8-9 years old. So you're gonna if you're gonna finance it, you're obviously gonna need to do new reports. For all that stuff. We could do a 21-day diligence. Your deposit's hard, subject to financing or something like that, and then we would close 30 days later. I mean, we're not a stickler on timing.
Is there an existing phase one that, to save the client money and time, if you brought me the loan, we could try to do a reliance letter?
Yeah, I mean, there is, but like I said,
the reports are old, right?
It's probably too old for a reliance letter. Okay. You'll most likely probably need to do a new phase one, the survey.
Is there a survey?
We have a survey. Bank might require a new one, or some kind of update to it. And then, we've got an old title report, so somebody can build off of that. So we've got what you need to get started. It really depends on the type of lender that you're going to use and what reports they require. And but yeah, I mean, if you need time to get the deal done, we're not going to get in the way of that. Absolutely.
How's the environmental condition? Is there any?
It's only been a CVS. It's only ever been a drugstore.
Okay.
There's no gas nearby,
no less tanks.
I'm not worried about anything underneath the ground.
Is there any gas stations nearby? Anything like that? No.
Not within a close enough proximity to warrant the issue.
Okay. I mean, that's something that we're always looking at. It happens. So, any smart buyer is or lender is looking at that. Does CVS give store sales? I know Walgreens, they have the percentage rent. So you can get the store sales. With this, do they
When
They
they
get
amended this lease, they got rid of reporting. So we have reports from, I think it's 2012, 11, and 2010. Sales were strong back then. They did the extension, long-term extension.
Okay.
So, we're confident that this is a good producer for them. It's kind of on the main thoroughfare there, really good exposure, good traffic counts in Chattanooga. So, we don't have data right now to back up, exactly what the sales might be, but just looking historically at it, looking at what the tenant's done in terms of the extension and whatnot, we're all confident that, and plus they have 18 years of credit regardless.
Yeah, you got the 18-year lease, which
yeah.
What's around it? Is there other retail to bring in good synergy? It's kind of a highway location, and I'll pull that up shortly. But
yeah, you're kind of the main, one of the main thoroughfares in the city, and you've got all the major retailers kind of on that strip right there, right? You've got your QSR tenants, you've got your auto, you've got your market. There's a large mall just kind of across the street in east a little bit, and then you've got kind of the biggest draw for me on this deal is a 128 bed hospital is a 9-iron down the road, and they're probably saying, where do you want to pick up your prescription at? It's going to be the CVS that's pretty much adjacent to it. So that's always a draw for investors looking for a stability of a tenant. If you have that kind of consistent business flow directing you towards the CVS, which is essentially on a signalized intersection corner there, you've got the longevity to keep that business successful and paying rent and everything that you're looking for as an investor.
So Jeff, I don't know if you saw our panel. We had Matt Barris and Carly Iacono, Jesse Lyman. That was a couple weeks back for Lease TV. But they were all, they mentioned that as of late, for a long time there, QSRs were kind of the little darling in the market. But now pharmacies with the coronavirus have kind of come back, and people are saying, I want to get back into into CVS because of the coronavirus.
Personally seen Amazon hit a wall recently. I've been buying a lot prior to the quarantine in terms of just day-to-day goods, and then post quarantine. And what I noticed is I started canceling more of my orders recently, more and more, because they're not capable of filling those orders in a timely manner. They're actually hoping that the consumers go to Walgreens because they can't handle. So Amazon supply chain is overflowed with things like toilet paper and disinfectant. So what you are seeing, maybe by circumstance of that event occurring currently, is people are not relying on Amazon, and they are going to those local smaller stores like the Walgreens, like the Rite Aid, like the CVS, and that's a reliable way. Plus, they don't have to go into the store; they can drive through, which is preferable. So I do think that, and
that's kind of what I was
having been cold calling owners of drugstores leading up to, people were more willing to sell at that point. They're like, wow, we got to get, the perception was they want to dump. Higher perception wanted to dump than wanted to hold than I had seen in the past. The shift, as soon as folks started to see the supply chain lock up, those owners were like, I'm going to hold on. We've got to wait, because I think that values, perceived values, are much higher now.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
there's more interest in pharmacies again, whereas that was kind of lacking, kind of slowed down a little bit. That's what they all said in the panel.
Yeah, no, completely agree. And, last year there was, an all-time high in terms of inventory on the market for these pharmacies, and they weren't moving very quickly. And, that there's some positives to these leases. There's some negatives. Sometimes there's no increases in the rent, things like that, where an investor will say, I don't want to I don't want to have flat rent for the entirety. I was saying that, you know, being in this kind of the healthcare niche, that's attractive to people right now, especially with where the world is and this pandemic and all that. You know, being in that industry and then having the guarantee, you know, the CVS or the Walgreens guarantee, you know, that trumps most QSR. Definitely some QSR out there that's got some serious credit behind it, but you know, you've got that stability. So, you know, the flight to quality has been kind of the key word for us this year, where people are saying, look, I want, you know, a tenant that's open and operating and essential, that's paying rent, that's signing estoppels, that's, you know, that they want that safety right now. And then the CVS, the Walgreens, and then we also sell, you know, 7-Elevens and stuff like that, where you got huge credit on it behind it as well. So, you know, it's not just that, but we've seen a lot of an uptick in the pharmacy demand for sure this year.
What the most important part? What's the Buyside Commission? All the agents are wondering that. What do I get paid?
Oh, of course. I think it's 3.5% off the top of my head total fee, and I split that 50/50.
Total split 50/50.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is that? I'm trying to do this in my head. 1 3/4. Yeah, 1 3/4.
Yeah.
That's an awesome commission. It's a beautiful deal. I love the look of the store. What's cool about Walgreens and CVS is the architecture. And I'll show the store. I'll put the store up. It's really has a nice facade, very narrow, right? It kind of has a V to it with that big front door there. It's really cool. That's awesome.
Yep.
So how should somebody approach you? Would they give you an LOI? Is that kind of the first step in the process?
Absolutely. Give me a call, shoot me an offer, you know, let's make a deal. That's what we're
Okay.
here
So
to do.
what's your email for them to send you an LOI? And
Sure.
do you like them to call your cell phone? What would
Cell, you know, text, whatever. I'm available 24 hours.
what's your email? What's your cell phone so that potential buyers, agents can start to call you on this deal?
Sure. Contact info. My it's in first initial last name, J Gates, JGAES at thekasegroup.com. That's TheKasegroup.com. So Kase is spelled with a K. My office line is 415-231-5231. So, you know, people can get in touch with me there. No problem.
Jeff, what are some future events? If we can go to them with, you know, hoping the coronavirus doesn't have a second wave, but what are some future events myself or others can meet you in person, hang out with you to try to build a relationship, to do some deals together?
Absolutely. That's a good question, Chris. You know, we go to all the major events, right? The, you know, Vegas show, we've got a booth. We go to New York. I go to a lot of the California ones, Monterey.
Will you be at ICSC in San Diego in October if that happens?
Yeah, I would love to be. I'm glad they moved it back down to San Diego. I love that venue. Easy for you, right? You just drive down the road.
Like I was telling you right before we came on, I was talking to Mark McDonald, First American Title, and we would love to still have the golf tournament. I don't know if you did the golf tournament, but I have a lot of videos that I did every year at ICSC San Diego. And 1 year I had done a lot of Walgreens. I bought maybe 10 or 20 bottles of champagne, and I was giving champagne, and we had a party out on the golf course. It was a blast, and I don't know why ICSC doesn't do that anymore, but you know,
you must have missed the invite for that one, Chris.
I know. I wish you were there. You could have had some champagne with me. We had a party out in the golf course. So I'm hoping I'm going to talk to New York ICSC, and I just talked to Mark, and Mark said he'd help me to try to bring it back. I remember they had an ICSC in Palm Springs, and I played in the tennis tournament. And a friend of mine, John, was in it, and that's where we met on the tennis, you know, on the court. So those extracurricular events are great for real estate networking, in my own opinion. So anyway, well, I want to thank you, Jeff, for your time being on Lease TV, and we'll definitely see you at some future events. And hopefully I can help you with financing for any buyers. that are looking for financing on the CVS deal. My number is 760-479-0800, and our website is www.maradellfinance.com. And on our homepage, we have more net lease TV, video feeds that we've done. So definitely subscribe. You're going to subscribe to Net Lease TV? I hope you said yes. That way, whenever we do a new episode, you're going to get an email, all right? So hit subscribe. Thanks again, Jeff, and thank you for being on Net Lease TV.